Shah Ahaya Bahashim Yeshaya. The first thing we're going to go into, which may take a little bit of work here, but we're going to see if we can get through it as quick as possible. We're going into the truth about Egyptology. You might have seen some of the brothers on YouTube and all these other areas teaching that all history, y'all can do this anytime y'all want, that all history comes out of Egypt, and that we are Egyptians. And you have some people online saying they are master teachers, claiming that according to their history, the Bible is a white man's book. This is their quotes. And that it's plagiarism because all the stories that you read of in the Bible were originally in ancient Egypt, and they can prove it. Now, while they do have some good points, and they're not wrong about everything, they're in error when it comes to Israel. Okay? You're going to find that the pagan deities that are worshipped in the Catholic Church today and the Christian Church are the same deities that was worshipped back in ancient Egypt. But that have nothing to do with the Bible. If you read the Bible, if they have read the Bible, they would understand that the Bible condemns paganism and the worships of Egyptology and what the pagan church is doing today. But what they do is they say, since the Catholic Church is teaching the Immaculate Conception and different things that they know was in ancient Egypt, they automatically relate it to the Bible without understanding. And any learned historian will tell you that they know for sure that all the characters, or the majority of the characters written in the Bible, are people of color. So there's no way you'll get respected if you make statements like the Bible is a white man's book. It's hard to get respect when there's historians who know that all the characters in the Bible are black people. Okay? The disciples were black. Get Acts 13:1. Let's get that first. Christ was black. And we're not saying this because we're pushing color. The Bible will tell you that. Okay? So these are unlearned statements that some of these people make to pull the children of Israel out of the Bible and then to guide them into a new philosophy like Egyptology and the science of Egyptology. But they first must make a ploy to pull you out of your own book. That's why they make unlearned statements, and only the unlearned will follow it. The first statement, when they say that the Bible is a white man's book, that's enough for you to say, you know what, this conversation is done. I'm getting out of here. Because all the historians from past history, Socrates, Josephus, all of them knew that the Israelites were black. That was second nature. Read Acts 13:1 first.
Acts 13:1. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers as Barnabas and Simeon.
There were certain teachers such as Barnabas and Simeon. Barnabas was a disciple. Simeon is Peter, which was a disciple, which were called what?
That was called Niger.
Called what?
That was called Niger.
They were called Niger. Niger. Niger is black. So the disciples were called black. So when they make statements like the Bible is a white man's book, if it was a white man's book, the first thing they would have did was change that. Why would they want people to know that Peter and Barnabas and all the disciples were black? So they should learn the book before they try to discredit it. A lot of them are just repeating what their teachers told them without researching the book. All right, that's number one. Now, when it comes to science in Egypt, that comes from Egypt, and mathematics, we don't deny that greatness was in the land of Egypt. By denying that, we would be denying ourselves. But the claim we're staking is that when the children of Israel left Egypt, no new pyramids erected. That's not conjecture, that's not an opinion, that's fact. So if the Egyptians were great in all this mathematics, why there's no new pyramids being erected. Why weren't they erected after the history of the children of Israel exodus from Egypt? Now, the argument that these Egyptologists push, and they get this philosophy from a Hamitic or an Egyptian philosopher named Manethos, the philosophy they push, or what they push amongst the populace, is the Israelites did not exist. They did not exist because there's no record of Moses. This is what they say. There's no record of Moses or the children of Israel ever being in the land of Egypt. That's what they say. So by them making this record, they're saying that Israel never existed, by them saying this. Now, there's history that someone was there. Even Manethos came up with a philosophy and started pushing it through their historians, the same way the historians make up their history in America, like the European history. The Africans or the Hamitic people had their own historians to twist history. Okay? And Manethos pushed that theory that Israel wasn't in Egypt. Why? Because once the God of Israel took down Pharaoh and his army, the Pharaoh made a decree to strike all existence of Moses and Israel from Egypt, so that he wouldn't be reminded of the God that killed his son. So if you want to know why there's no history of Egypt or Israel in Egypt, is because the Pharisees had the power to strike people from history. They was calling themselves the evening and morning star. And once he got back, after he lost his chariots in the Red Sea, he went back to Egypt and sat down with his historians and say, I don't want any existence. If anyone even utter his name or show any existence, I'll have their head. So they opened up all the records and took Moses and Israel out of the records. And for the things they couldn't hide, they claimed that an Asiatic people came into Egypt, took them down for a period, and just walked away, called the Hyksos period. Now, and mind you, that's the only place in history in Egypt where people